Tudo bom, pessoal? Welcome! Bem-vindos a esta aula. Welcome to this class. I'm so happy to be here. Let me know if you guys can see me and hear me well. Let me see who is here. Eu vejo Jolene, tudo bom? David, Lori, tudo bom, gente? Jorge, olá! Simon, Lena, Janet, tudo bom? Bem-vindos, Kirsten, Roberto. Que bom ver vocês. Jake, tudo bom? Muito bom, gente. Welcome. I'm so happy to be here today. This is the first class that I teach today. I took a break from classes and I'm so excited to be here with you. And today I'm here to help you with your pronunciation. This is one of my favorite topics ever. I love talking about Brazilian accent and helping you improve your Brazilian Portuguese pronunciation. So this is the topic of this class. This class is recommended for everyone, beginner level students, advanced students. I believe that everyone can learn a little bit from this class because we all struggle with pronunciation, right? So I'm going to give you some tips for beginner level students and also a lot of tips from intermediate and advanced level students. So I hope you stay with me until the end. As you can see, I'm teaching the class in English, but we are going to practice a lot of Portuguese in this class too. Since it's a pronunciation class, get ready to practice out loud. I'm going to give you some assignments during the class, and you can use the live chat to speak with me. Okay, I'm going to read the comments as much as possible. So if you have questions, feel free to ask any questions you have related to Brazilian Portuguese pronunciation, which is the topic of this class. If we have time, we can also cover other topics, but I would like to focus on pronunciation and accent, okay? Let me see here if someone... Olá, quem mais está aqui? Cristina, Vênus, tudo bom, gente? Ok, I miss you guys. Kalani, tudo bom? Que bom, I see some names of students that are with me for a long time. So good to see you here, guys. Bem-vindos! So as you can see, Venus is in the chat. Who is Venus? If you don't know Venus, she's part of my team. She's one of the teachers. And she's here to help me. She's helping me in the chat. So she'll help me answer your questions. So if you see Venus in the chat, say hi. She'll be here available to help you with your Portuguese or any questions that you have. Certo? Okay, so before we get started, I have some important announcements. You know me, I always have announcements. So let's get started. Oi, Ruth! Tudo bom, James? Muito bom, gente. Okay, so let me see my notes here. Announcements. Okay, so the first one is that we have new classes starting soon. You probably already know that, right? You received my emails. I know that. So I just want to remind you that if you want to join one of my classes, the next premium classes, what does it mean? It means that group classes, you have Zoom classes in groups. If you want to join one of these courses that start in February, you should enroll by Saturday, okay? So enrollment is open until this Saturday, January 21st. But I recommend that if you're really planning to join, that you don't wait until Saturday because spots per class are limited, okay? I have only 10 spots per class maximum. So if you want to have classes on, I don't know, Thursday at 8 p.m., you should sign up as soon as possible so you don't miss your spot, right? But you can, if you're still thinking, have not decided yet, you can sign up until Saturday, okay? I'm going to show you really quick the courses that I offer in case you don't know. Okay, this is the wrong page, so just give me 1 second. This is what I want to share with you. So this is the page where you find the information about the courses. It's speakingbrazilian.com/courses. And here you see all the options. Sometimes students are confused. They don't know what is the best option for them. So I'm going to briefly talk about each option so you know which one is the best for you. So the first one is the Essential Course for Beginners. As the name says, is a course recommended for beginner level students, but also for those who want to brush up on their Portuguese. So also if you have studied Portuguese using only apps like Duolingo or any other apps, I recommend that you start with the Essential course for beginners. This course is very comprehensive and it will give you a very solid foundation in the language, okay? The course lasts 12 weeks. Every course here that I offer in this school have two options. I'm going to click here to show you. Two enrollment options. You can choose to sign up for the basic plan or the premium plan. What is the difference? The difference is that the basic plan is completely self-paced, okay? You will study by yourself, you have access to everything you need to learn Portuguese. You will not be alone, you still have access to feedback, to a community where you can ask questions and receive feedback on your homework, okay? So this is also a very good option for those who like to study by themselves. But, of course, I recommend that you join the premium plan. The premium plan, the difference between the basic and the premium is that the premium plan includes, in addition to everything that you find in the basic plan, you also have access to Zoom classes, group classes via Zoom, in small groups, 5 to 10 students. Usually the groups are smaller than that, but I like to say 5 to 10 because that's the maximum number of students that you find in a class. And also weekly Q&As with me every Saturday. I have this Q&A that is open for everyone, okay? So if you, of course, I recommend that you join the premium plan, but if you like to study by yourself or if you were watching this class later and you'd like to sign up after the enrollment period, then you can sign up for the basic plan because the basic plan is always available. Okay, you can sign up for the basic plan whenever you want. It's available all year round, but the premium plan is only offered 3 times a year. So I start new classes in February, May, and September, and I usually open enrollment a couple of weeks earlier. Okay, so this was the beginner's course. These options, basic and premium, you find in every course, all these 4 main courses, okay? The second course is the pre-intermediate workshop. This is recommended for those who have finished the first one, or if you have taken a beginner's course elsewhere, right, in another school, or you really study by yourself seriously and you think you really don't need to go back to the beginning, you can start a little bit later. So the pre-intermediate workshop is recommended for upper beginner level students. What does it mean? It means that you already know basic vocabulary and you already know how to use the main tenses, present, past, and future tense. Okay, so this course will review the most basic content and also introduce you to intermediate level content. The next course is the Grammar and Conversation workshop. So this course is intermediate level. It is very comprehensive. We cover intermediate and also a little bit of advanced grammar. It is very intense related to grammar, so students really usually love it. But if you don't like grammar, you probably won't love this course. This course will really give you a solid foundation in Brazilian Portuguese grammar. It is ideal for intermediate level students or even advanced students who need to brush up and review grammar. And after you finish this course, you are ready to join the Speaking Brazilian Academy, which is my program for intermediate and advanced students. The Academy is different. It's not a regular course. All the courses that I mentioned before, they last 12 weeks if you join the premium plan. But the Academy is a membership. You can stay in the Academy for as long as you want. You pay a monthly fee or an annual fee. You choose the best option for you. And you have regular classes every week with your instructor and also with me, regular Q&As every week. So this is the course that I created to help you maintain your Portuguese. So if your level of Portuguese is already intermediate or advanced, but you don't have the opportunity to practice, you need a place to practice, this is the place for you, the Speaking Brazilian Academy, okay? All right, so these are the courses that I offer. If you are interested, go check it out. You find all the information, schedule, everything you need to know on those courses pages. And if you have time at the end of the class, I'll be also available to answer any questions that you have related to the courses. Combinado? Deal? Okay, what is the next announcement? Let's check it out because I forgot. Oh, okay. I also I mentioned that I have all these courses. I did not mention prices. You find the prices on the courses page. Of course, the basic plan is a little bit more affordable than the premium plan. But you can also choose to pay installments. All courses offer this payment plan option. Okay, just click to see the options there. I also offer a placement test to those who don't know what course is ideal for you. So even after this explanation, if you're still not sure, recommend you take the placement test. You find that on the same page, the courses page, okay? And one very important information is that I offer a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you're not sure if that course is good for you, feel free to sign up and try it. I promise you that if you change your mind for any reason, just email us within 30 days and you receive a full refund, no questions asked, okay? And one exciting announcement, which is the new bonus. This is something that I have never offered before, which is a Telegram private group. Do you guys know what Telegram is? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious to know. Have you ever used a Telegram? It's an app. So let me know in the comments. I'm super curious to know if you know this. So I'm creating these private Telegram groups. What does it mean? It means that you have more access to me and the team, and you'll be able to receive feedback on audio assignments. So in addition to the written assignments that you can do on the website, the homework. So each lesson has a homework for you to do on the website, and then when you do your homework, you receive feedback from the teachers. The Telegram app will also allow us to give you feedback on audio assignments, so that will help you a lot with your pronunciation. Okay, so if you sign up for any of the premium plans, you also receive this bonus, which is a Telegram group. It will create a different group for each course, and you will receive assignments each week to record an audio and then receive feedback on your pronunciation. See, Marine is saying that she uses Telegram. Is it fun? You know, I confess that I never used, but I'm super excited about it. I've heard good things about it. Reading your comments here. Conheço, mas nunca usei. Okay, guys, so this is the new bonus. I hope you're excited about it. If you have already signed up for the courses, of course, you will receive access to the Telegram as well. It's something that I decided to do now that I have never mentioned before, but it is included in all premium courses, certo? What else I want to tell you before we start the class? So these are the announcements about the courses, okay? If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I'll take a look. I'll have some time for questions at the end of the class too. So I see that Risky is asking a question, is asking if do you have a Discord community. No, I don't have a Discord community. I prefer using other platforms. So I have one community that I created on the course platform. I use Teachable. It's a very simple page, but in this page you have access to, you can interact with other students and ask questions and also do your homework, and our teachers go there almost every day to answer your questions and talk to you, so you have a lot of support. And in addition to that, we also have the Telegram group, which will also work as a community, right? Very good question. What else? I thought I had seen. So question from Mike, estou matriculado no Grammar, mas estou pensando em matricular na academia também. Você acha isso uma boa ideia? If you think, a lot of students, they do both at the same time. If you're already conversation, if you can attend a class 100% in Portuguese, and if you think that you can have conversations, you can do that. You can join both. In the academy, we don't focus on grammar. We focus more on conversation. We talk about different topics. Each week we have a different topic to discuss. And in the grammar workshop, we focus on grammar and a little bit on conversation too. It's a combination of both. So you're welcome to try both. You can sign up for both. And of course, as I said before, if you change your mind, you can either request to switch or to cancel one of the courses and receive a refund and then just continue with one course. Okay, so if you're thinking about joining both, I think you should do that. We should use this energy to learn languages, right? If you're excited about something, that's the right time to begin. Muito bom, gente. Just seeing if you have any initial questions. All right. Another comment, if you ask a question and I don't see it, feel free to copy and paste because it is really hard for me to read all the questions when I receive too many questions, tá bem? Muito bom. So the next announcement is related to this class that I'm teaching right now. So I want you to download the PDF if you have not already. So if you're watching this video, this link is only available for those who signed up. So when I sent you the email, I sent you also a link to download the PDF. Okay, I recommend you do that so you have the material. You can use that to review later. And the third announcement is that we are going to have some giveaways today. So I recommend that you stay until the end. I'm going to give away 3 coaching sessions, 30-minute pronunciation coaching sessions. And we're going to have 3 giveaways during the class. One now at the beginning in a few minutes, another one in the middle of the class, and the last one at the end of the class. So stay with me until the end so you have a better chance to win the giveaway. Certo? We're going to have the first giveaway in a minute. Just checking here the comments. All right. So to participate in the giveaway, you have to participate in the chat because we don't have to, we're using YouTube, so there's no way to know the names of those who are participating in class. So you have to participate in class, and Venus is going to randomly choose someone from the chat to receive the giveaway. Okay, so we're going to have the first giveaway now. So Venus, you have a minute to select, send me some names, and then I am going to announce who is the first winner, and then we're going to start the class. So while Venus send me names, I am going to share. We're going to play a celebration song. I love to do that. I have not done that in a while. Where is it? Where is the song? I lost it. You know, I spend too much time without teaching classes and then I forget how to do this. Okay, so here it is. Okay, guys, I hope you're excited as I am. So I'm here drinking chamate. If you don't know this, when you come to Brazil, you have to try it. It's delicious. So, okay, first giveaway. The first winner is Simon Ledoux. Simon Ledoux. Simon Ledoux. You are the first winner. So a round of applause for Simon. Wait. Where am I? Where am I? Okay, I lost. I wanted to give you a round of applause, but I guess I don't know how to use this. Okay, I found it. Okay, guys. So if you want this pronunciation coaching, you have to email Aline. Aline is our client care coordinator. Her email is school@speakingbrazilian.com. So send her an email and tell her that you won this coaching session, pronunciation coaching session, and she'll help you. She'll send you information about it. Certo? Muito bom, gente! Okay, so here's Simon. Parabéns! So let's get started. Let's start our class. I see that Venus sent me a question that I did not see before. Someone is asking if with the basic plan you can work until B1 level, and for upper levels you have to subscribe to the premium plan. You can actually work from the basic to the premium to the B1 level using both the basic plan and the premium plan, right? So the basic plan and the premium plan, the only difference is that the basic plan does not include live sessions, and the premium plan does include live sessions. But you can start from the beginning with the premium plan, having live sessions, which I actually recommend, because live sessions will help you much more. You have the help of a teacher from the beginning, right? So it's actually totally up to you. You can start with a self-paced course and study the material by yourself, or you can join with live sessions from the beginning. It's a personal preference, and also some students, they join the basic plan because they want to join, for instance, like a month from now, I will not be offering the premium plan. That will be closed. So if you decide to join one of the courses in March, you have to sign up for the basic plan because the premium plan will not be available. But you can start from the beginning in the premium plan. I hope that helps. If it is not clear, feel free to ask me, okay? Ok, gente, vamos começar. Let's get started. Let's talk about pronunciation. Ok, treinamento de pronúncia. So today is the focus, pronunciation training. So this is what I want to cover in this class. I want to help you how to sound more Brazilian, right? I'm not saying that you have a perfect Brazilian accent. You always have your foreign accent. But I'll help you, I'll give you a lot of tips to help you sound more Brazilian and also understand, improve your listening comprehension, okay? I'll also give you some tips to master some very difficult phonemes for English speakers and Spanish speakers. You know, the nasal sounds, the Z sounds, there are some sounds that are really hard for some students. I'm going to give you some tips and also give you some exercises. So get ready to practice. I'm going to ask you to repeat out loud. You know, it is really, really important. First tip, first rule of improving your pronunciation. You need to practice out loud and you need to repeat and repeat and repeat in order to, you know, work those muscles, learn, teach your vocal cords and your vocal muscles to pronounce, to produce those different phonemes that you're not used to, okay? So get ready to speak in this class. So one question that I get a lot, é possível falar com sotaque brasileiro? Is it possible for a foreign student, someone from another country, speak with a Brazilian accent? It is possible, of course, but it takes a lot of time and practice. And one thing that is very important for you to know is that when you talk about Brazilian accent, we're actually being very generic, right? Because Brazil is so big. You know that, right? So we have so many different accents in Brazil. The accent from São Paulo is different from Rio, and it's different from Bahia. And so each place, each city, sometimes a different neighborhood in the same city has a different accent. So it's Brazilian accent is really fascinating because of that. There are so many variations. And one question that I get a lot, and I think it's a funny question, like, oh, what is the best accent? Or what is the correct accent? Or the standard accent? Well, accent is just like, it is, right? It's something that is our way of speaking, right? Everyone has an accent. But one funny thing about accents is that the only person, the person who perceives, who notices an accent is always the other one, never yourself. So I cannot hear my accent, but everyone else who is listening to me can hear. So accent is something that is perceived by other people, right? So it's very common that we don't think that we have an accent, but everyone does have an accent. So in my opinion, there is no right or wrong, and there is no standard accent in Brazil. I know that some people will disagree with me here. Some people say that São Paulo accent is the standard, or Rio de Janeiro accent is the standard. But honestly, I was born in the Northeast, and when I lived there, I thought that my accent and the accent that I saw in the local TV was the standard. So that's only a matter of perspective. When I moved to São Paulo, they had such a strong accent. My friends, I thought, oh, they have this very strong accent. And of course, after a few months, I got used to it and I did not notice the accent anymore. So don't worry about that. There's no, of course, the most common accent that you see on television is from São Paulo and Rio because they are the biggest cities, right? But I really don't think they are better than the other ones. Another thing that I want to tell you is that I think you should not worry about learning a specific accent because it is going to come naturally, right? We usually tend to assimilate the accent of people around us. So usually, it's funny, I assimilate accent really easily. So when I spend time with my friend from Minas Gerais, I speak like her. I love her accent, so cute. So usually I tend to get her accent. When I spend time with my mom, I get her accent again from the Northeast. But when I spend time with my friends from São Paulo, I usually speak like them. So accent is something that you get, and you usually tend to have the same accent as your friends and family. And one very important thing that I want to talk about now is the difference between accent and pronunciation, right? Because it is really, what is really, really important, and I really want to help you with that today, is to have a good, clear pronunciation. It doesn't matter the accent, regardless of your accent, right? So it's important to have this in mind. What is the difference? Like, is my pronunciation good or bad? Is my accent good or bad? Accent actually is related to our identity, our cultural identity. And the pronunciation is related to the rules of the language, right? Each language has a different set of rules regarding the pronunciation and phonetics. So when you're learning a new language, you should focus on learning correct pronunciation. Don't worry too much about accent. Maybe when you get to an advanced level and you want to have a specific accent or speak in a specific way, then you could focus on that. But as a beginner or upper beginner, low intermediate level, you should not worry with accent. We should focus on having a good pronunciation to have a good communication, right? So to give you a practical example, you can see that I'm speaking English now, and you probably can hear that I have an accent, right? I have this Brazilian accent. Some people recognize that I'm Brazilian when after 5 seconds when I open my mouth and speak English. So that is my cultural identity, right? I'm Brazilian, I speak English with a Brazilian accent. That's part of my identity. However, I can't communicate well, right? I'm teaching this class in English. You can understand me, right? I hope you can. You can understand me because I'm using the correct pronunciation, at least most of the time. Even if I make small mistakes in pronunciation, you can understand me because I'm following the rules. I'm pronouncing P's as P's, R's as R's, right? I'm not changing the pronunciation of these consonants and vowels. So that is the importance of understanding pronunciation and pronouncing letters and words correctly. Even if you have an accent, people will understand you and you'll be able to communicate well if you have a good pronunciation. Certo? Is this clear? If you have questions about that, let me know. Muito bom. Então vamos lá. So, how to improve your pronunciation? I'm going to give you a lot of tips today, but the first tip that I want you to challenge you to practice is to imitate. This is the best way to improve your pronunciation. Imitate Brazilians, imitate people that speak the language that you want to speak, right? So, one exercise that I want you to do in this class is to repeat after me whenever I say a word in Portuguese, okay? I am going to remind you every time I want you to repeat something, so get ready for that. That will help you a lot in improving your pronunciation. But I also want to challenge you to do that by yourself. You can do this, you can choose podcast or video and sit down and do this exercise. If you're really committed, I recommend that you do this every day or 5 days a week. Sit down, listen to this audio. It's important to choose an audio that is interesting for you and at your level. If you choose an audio that is super difficult, it will be very difficult to do this exercise. But the exercise is simple. Just listen and repeat. You can listen to a sentence, pause, and then repeat. Listen, pause, and then repeat. I promise you that will help you improve your pronunciation so much. You need to move, we have a lot of muscles involved in vocal pronunciation, in pronouncing phonemes. So you need to exercise. It's like going to the gym to get fit. You need to exercise to get your phonemes and your vocal cords and everything involved in your speech, you have to get these muscles fit enough to pronounce words in Brazilian Portuguese phonemes correctly. Okay, so I promise you this exercise is going to help you a lot. So let's get started in this, the main topic of the class, which is how to sound more natural when speaking Portuguese. So one of the things that will help you a lot in two skills, Brazilian Portuguese skills, is word reduction. This will help you improve your listening skills and pronunciation skills. So everything that I'm going to teach you today, I want you to pay attention to how this will help you with these two skills. How this will help you improve your listening, comprehension, and your speaking. Because sometimes improving just the listening is enough, right? And sometimes you don't have to apply in your speech yet. It really depends. So when you're talking about word reduction, this is completely optional when you're speaking Portuguese. But when you're listening, it's not optional. We cannot control the way other people speak. So you need to understand word reduction in order to understand what Brazilians are saying, right? We make reductions all the time. Brazilians, they don't realize they do it. Sometimes maybe you ask someone, oh, how do you pronounce this word? Você. They will say você. But then pay attention to them speaking fast and naturally with a friend. You will notice that this same person makes a lot of reductions that they never realized. So only teachers and really, linguists will really notice these nuances, these details. So understanding word reduction will help you a lot with your listening comprehension. And then if you feel comfortable, you can also try to apply this also in your speech. But speaking with word reduction is completely optional. But what is that? What is word reduction? So word reduction is the natural process of suppressing some phonemes when we are speaking. So we suppress some letters, sometimes an entire syllable, sometimes just one letter. So we are going to see many examples here. For example, the verb estar is commonly suppressed, right? We usually reduce estar. We drop one entire syllable there. So this is the most common way to say está is tá. Estou is just tô. Está is tá. Estamos is estamos. E estão is tão. So let's see in one sentence, because seeing just like random words is hard to understand. So let's see one very common question. How would you ask the question in Portuguese? Where are you? Onde você está? So here, most Brazilians will make two reductions. Onde você tá? So repeat after me to practice. Onde você tá? Now faster. Onde você tá? Onde você tá? Onde você tá? Onde você tá? So you see, this reduction is very, very common. Most people would make this reduction. And in some areas, like in Minas Gerais, is the name of a state, some people would reduce even more. They would also drop this syllable here and say, onde você tá? Onde você tá? Onde você tá? So these reductions are really, really common. And you can see how it's difficult to understand. If you don't know this happens, you will be like, oh, what is this person saying? I cannot get the words. So this is really useful for you to improve your listening comprehension, right? You don't have to speak this way. You can speak words, the complete words, onde você está. It is completely correct. Everyone will understand you, and it will not sound weird. It sounds completely normal, but it is important that you understand, okay? If you feel comfortable, if your level is already intermediate, advanced, and you like to speak in a more natural Brazilian way, then you can try to experiment and try to use some of these reductions. But the first step is to understand. and to listen and get and understand what people are saying, right? So another example, eu estou com fome. So this is the reduction version, reduced version. Repeat after me to practice. Eu tô com fome. Eu tô com fome. Eu tô com fome. Eu tô com fome. I also made another reduction here. Can you hear it? I don't pronounce com. When I speak fast, I pronounce cum, cum. So the vowel o is commonly reduced to u, a weak u, when we speak fast in Portuguese. So this is one of those cases. Estou com fome. Estou com fome. Estou com fome. So you see, when I try to speak more naturally, it comes in a reduced way, naturally. So this is me trying to speak naturally. Tô com fome. Tô com fome, amor. So you see, I made a lot of reductions. So seeing here, let me take a look at your comments. Is this clear? If you have a question about this, let me know. Feel free to ask questions at any time, guys. I can stop and see if I can answer your question during the class. But if I don't see your question, write it down and ask me at the end of the class, okay? Remember to drink water to hydrate yourself. So a comment for Victor, very interesting. So most people don't know they do this, and also in English, yes. So same thing in English. There are a lot of reductions in English, a lot. It's crazy. I follow a teacher on YouTube. I love her. Her name is Rachel. Rachel's English is her YouTube channel. And she talks a lot about that. And it's amazing when she explains all the reductions that English Americans make. It's crazy. Okay, so number two, a palavra você é quase sempre reduzida a você ou se. So I already mentioned this before, right? So the examples that I gave earlier also mentioned the word se. So this is very, very common. Very common. Some people reduce to se, some people to você. Really, everything that I'm saying here varies from one region to another, right? So maybe your Brazilian friend will say, oh, but I don't say like this, I say like this. That's okay. I'm just giving you examples. I'm not teaching you everything in one class. That would be impossible. But I'm giving you very, very common examples. So here, one example. See this, this sentence without reduction and with reduction. Você quer comer alguma coisa? Do you want to eat something? And with reduction. Você quer comer alguma coisa? I'm also speaking fast here, so you see how difficult it could be to understand if you don't know this, that this happens. So repeat after me to practice. Você quer comer alguma coisa? Você quer comer alguma coisa? Você quer comer alguma coisa? So I'm making many reductions here. The other ones I'm going to comment in a minute. So here I'm focusing on the word você. It's commonly reduced to se. So here it's one interesting thing about the word se. Sometimes after prepositions or after the verb to be, we usually don't make the reduction. So in these examples, isto é para você. I would never make a reduction here. Or quem é você? I will also not make a reduction here. Just one interesting detail, nuances of the language, right? But a cute comment here, I've heard people saying para você, reducing and also connecting words here, saying pro você. I think this would be maybe in Minas Gerais also. Minas Gerais is always where people are famous for making lots of reductions there, word reductions, right? So this would be also something, but this sounds more regional to me, more from Minas Gerais or maybe Goiás, which is also another state in Brazil, right? This is not common everywhere in Brazil. It really depends on the region. So number 3 is usually diphthongs are reduced. The diphthong O is commonly reduced to O. For instance, eu vou, instead of saying vou, we usually say vou when we're speaking naturally and fast, right? Eu vou, eu sou, ele estudou. Really, usually we just hear the O sound. That happens because the O sound in this diphthong, O, The O sound is strong, is a stressed vowel, and the U sound is actually weak. It's considered a semi-vowel here. It's a weaker sound. So when you speak fast and naturally, this weaker sound tend to disappear. This is also very common, the letters R and S. They commonly disappear also at the end of words, especially verbs. I hear all the time people saying, like the phrase, vamos lá, let's go. It's very common to hear vamos lá. We don't hear the S. Vamos lá. And every verb in its infinitive form, it ends with the letter R. We usually pronounce without the R. Né? Eu vou, for instance, eu vou estudar. So usually we hear eu vou estudar. Please, please, please don't write this way. I'm writing this way just to show you the way that we make these word reductions. Reductions should be done only in the speech, okay? In spoken language, we should not write this way. There is this texting language, this internet language that people make a lot of reductions. But this is another subject, right? This is something different. I actually made a video about that that is going to be published soon, maybe in a week or two. But today, I'm only talking about pronunciation, okay? So I recommend you don't write as I'm saying, as I'm writing here in these examples. This is the spoken language. If you write like this, it sounds like you are uneducated, that you don't know how to write in Portuguese. Okay, next topic, the word que is commonly reduced to k, the sound k. So for instance, in this sentence, ele disse que quer falar com você. So here I would say, ele diz que quer falar com você. Ele disse que quer falar com você. So repeat after me to practice. Ele disse que quer falar com você. You see I made lots of reductions here. Now faster. Ele disse que quer falar com você. Ele disse que quer falar com você. So the que, when it's used as a conjunction, when it is connecting to sentences, can be commonly reduced to k. Sometimes a little bit more than in this example. Okay, so a lot of examples here. So, as I said before, these are just some examples. They're very, very common. But you hear so many different reductions in Brazil. Do you know other examples? Let me know in the chat. I'd love to read some of your examples. Let me know if you know other reductions. As I said, pay attention, be careful, because this is informal language, spoken language. You should not write with reductions unless you're just like text messaging, could be accepted, but I recommend you be careful when using reductions. That is not, unless spoken language is okay, informal language is okay, but even in formal situations, it is recommended to speak clearly and avoid making reductions, okay? All right, let me see some of your comments. Curious to see your examples. Muito bom! Muito bom. Quanto tempo leva? So Marcos is asking, quanto tempo leva para o ouvido se acostumar a reduzir ou ligar palavras? So this is really, it really depends. Marcos is asking, how long does it take to get used to this, right? It really depends. Of course, as everything else, the more you practice, the faster it will be you'll get used to this. So I recommend that you really listen to Portuguese. If you're a beginner level student, of course, it will take longer. You have to start with the most standard way of pronouncing words and focus on pronunciation, and don't pay too much attention to reduce forms. But once you get to an intermediate, like low intermediate level, I recommend that you start listening to different people from different regions and pay attention to the way that they pronounce words and sentences. And pay attention to these details. Now that you know that they exist, pay attention to see if you can hear them and notice when people are making reductions and connections. So question from Victoria, some of the reductions are the same as other words like tão or vou. How do you know the difference it is simply a matter of context? Oh, okay, you mean that the reduction, it is the same as a real word. I love this question. It's context, for sure, yeah. So the word tão can also mean, be an adverb of intensity, right? Ele é tão lindo, like he's so handsome, he's tão lindo. So in this context, you know that it is not the verb estar. We know that is just the adverb. So yeah, context is everything, right? It helps so much in communication. Excellent question, Victoria. Oh, good to know, Dania. Yes, so if you watch Brazilian movies or series, you will see how they speak in a very natural way. This is an excellent training for your ears. I recommend you do that. Try to see, and you see that sometimes they write the subtitles in reduced forms. Pay attention to that. That would be a very good training for you. Very good comment, Dania. Muito bom, gente. Let's move on. So I have time to cover everything. Vamos lá, vamos lá. We are going to have the second giveaway in a minute, okay? So stay with me. So I just want to talk briefly about word linking. So what is this? I published videos about these two topics recently in the last 2 weeks. So if you have not watched those videos, I recommend you do so you can practice a little bit more. The content is very similar of what I'm talking in this class. So what is word linking? Word linking is like, as it says, we're linking words, connecting words. As reductions, we all do that whether we realize it or not. Okay, so this will also help you with your comprehensive listening comprehension, and you can also try to add this to your speech, but it's not mandatory, it's completely optional in the speech. But in some examples, you see that it really helps you sound more natural when you make these connections. So when should we link words in a sentence? There are some tips here that I can give you. The first one is when the vowel at the end of a word is very similar to the vowel that is at the beginning of the next word, like todo o mundo. So when in speech, we say todo mundo. We don't repeat the same vowel here, right? And this is interesting. Gosto de ir à praia, right? But then we connect de ir because the sound is very similar. It's not the same vowel in writing, but phonetically it's the same vowel. De ir, we just say dir. And then ir, we connect the R with the A. Irá. So repeat after me. Gosto de ir à praia. Gosto de ir à praia. Faster. Gosto de ir à praia. Gosto de ir à praia. Gosto de ir à praia. So the next topic is when a word ends with the consonant S and the next word begins with a vowel, we have to connect them. And the S is pronounced as Z. Because remember that one of the pronunciation rules is that in Portuguese, the S, when it's placed between vowels, it sounds like a Z. So when you have two words together, they are pronounced as if it was just one word, right? For example, casas amarelas. How would you pronounce this more naturally? Casas amarelas. So repeat after me to practice. Casas amarelas. Casas amarelas. Casas amarelas. The Z sound is very, very strong here. Z, Z. Casas amarelas. Todos os dias. With the linking. Todos os dias. Repeat after me. Todos os dias. Todos os dias. Todos os dias. You see that the letter O here can be reduced to U. You can say todos os or todos os. That's the way that I pronounce it. I make this reduction. Todos os. Todos os dias. Todos os dias. I love this one because it sounds interesting here. Todos os envolvidos. When we make the liaison, the connection, we say todos os envolvidos. So we have this funny sound, zozem, todos os envolvidos. Repeat after me to practice. Todos os envolvidos. Todos os envolvidos. Todos os envolvidos. Is it too hard? Now I have like 2 challenges for you here, 2 longer sentences. So repeat after me to practice. Todos os dias ele desenha casas amarelas. Todos os dias ele desenha casas amarelas. You have to speak out loud. I'm seeing you. I'm watching you. One more time. Todos os dias ele desenha casas amarelas. And the next one. Todos os envolvidos amaram a festa. You see, I have lots of liaisons here. Todos os envolvidos amaram a festa. One more time. Todos os envolvidos amaram a festa. See? So just remember, when the S is at the end of a word and the next word begins with a vowel, you can connect and the S sounds like a Z. And number 3, same thing, but now with the letter R. When one word ends with the letter R and the next word begins with a vowel, we kind of connect the words as if it were one single word. And in this case, the R should be pronounced the same way it is always pronounced between 2 vowels, like R is like that flap sound, that flap T sound, R, R, R. It's a fricative R. For example, vou comprar carro. How would we connect these 2 words? The sound of the R changes here. It's a very strong R pronunciation. Vou comprar carro. Comprar as if it sounds like one word, right? Comprar Vou comprar carro. Vou comprar carro. Same thing here. Eles vão vender a casa. Let's connect these words here. Eles vão vender a casa. Venderá, venderá, vender a casa. And now a bigger sentence. Are you ready for the challenge? Let's do this. Repeat after me to practice. Eles vão vender a casa e comprar carro para os filhos. You see, I made lots of connections here. Vender a casa, comprar carro. I'm exaggerating a little bit so you can really hear the pronunciation of the R. Para os filhos. Here, I kind of dropped the A pronunciation here. It's para os filhos, para os filhos. It sounds more like this. So one more time. Eles vão vender a casa e comprar carro para os filhos. Last time. Eles vão vender a casa e comprar carro para os filhos. See? Too difficult. Okay, so we are going to talk to, this is it about reduction and linking. I know this is super difficult for beginner level students. So I wanted to know that if you're a beginner level watching this class, don't worry, don't feel like you have to know all this. It is important that you know that this exists and happens so you can train your ear, but you don't have to make all these reductions and connections right now. Focus on pronouncing words correctly and leave this for later, okay? But if you are intermediate level, advanced level, it is important for you to start improving these nuances of the language, right? So you can sound more natural when speaking Portuguese, right? One interesting thing about reductions and linking is that reductions are more informal, sometimes a little bit too informal depending on the case, but linking, it's not informal. Some linking, these examples that I gave you, they can be used even in formal language. They are completely accepted in formal language as well, okay? So these are nuances that I wanted you to know. So I want to see if I have questions. Now we are in the middle. We passed the middle of the class already. Time flies. So we're going to have the second giveaway. Are you ready? I want you to take a small break, take a deep breath, drink some water or tea, And we are going to have the second giveaway. Even if you have any questions, also type your question here and I can answer some questions before we move to the last part of the class. Okay, so while Venus sends me some names for the giveaway, I am going to play our celebration song so you can move your body a little bit. Okay, so I have the second winner is Jordan Ziff. Jordan Ziff, you are the winner. Parabéns! So a round of applause for Jordan. Muito bom. So Jordan, you are the winner of our 30-minute coaching, pronunciation coaching session. Please email Aline. Her email is school@speakingbrazilian.com and she will help you set up, schedule your coaching session. Okay? Muito bom! Parabéns! So Venus sent me some questions here that I missed. So before we continue, I would like to answer some of these questions. So question from Rishi. He's saying, how do we pronounce letter with a tilde? So we're talking about the nasal sounds in a minute. So it's one of the topics that I want to cover because it's a very difficult phoneme for English speakers and Spanish speakers, right? So the tilde, it makes the vowel nasal. So the a will be pronounced as right? So whenever you see that tilde in Portuguese, it makes the vowel nasal. So question from Josie, how do you know when listening that someone is reducing words? So this is just practice. Most of the time when someone says something and you don't understand, that person is probably doing something like that. It's reducing words and linking words and speaking too fast. So usually if you are understanding, that's great. So you don't have to worry about that. Just if you are understanding what people are saying, that's amazing. If you don't understand, that's probably the reason why you are not understanding. It's either reduction or linking or maybe slang. So what you can do to really practice that is listening to podcasts that offer the transcript. So you can hear and read at the same time. So you can connect the sounds with the text and then really pay attention to see if the people are making reductions and things like that. I hope that helps, Josie. Question from Kath Spencer. Quero ouvir o sotaque da Bahia. I love sotaque from Bahia. It's so beautiful. I cannot imitate, but I recommend, my favorite singer is called Caetano Veloso. I love him. He's from Bahia. And if you listen to his music, you'll notice that he has this beautiful accent from Bahia. It's really beautiful. I also recorded a video with a friend from Bahia. It's on my channel. Her name is Flavia. But her accent is really attenuated because she lived outside Bahia for a long time. Let me see here. Okay, so many questions. Which podcast do you recommend? Of course, I recommend my podcast, Speaking Brazilian Podcast. It's just the audio of my videos, but you can also, for more advanced students, intermediate level and advanced students, I recommend the Café Brasil podcast, and also for more advanced, I really love the Nossa Língua Portuguesa podcast, but this is hard. This is for advanced students. It's with Professor Pasquale. So many good questions. So All right, so here a question from the closed and open sounds. I'm going to talk about that in a minute, Julia. How do you pronounce an R between two consonants? So this topic is, I talk about that in a video that I published on YouTube. So the R has many different pronunciations depending on the position it is placed. So between two, the R is never between two consonants unless it is two R's. It always have like a vowel and a consonant. Or if you find two R's, then it is pronounced like ha. So we can talk a little bit about that also in a minute. Let me see here. Okay, so many questions. Okay, guys, let's continue the lesson so we have time to finish, to cover everything. And then if we have, at the end of the class, I will come back to your questions and answer your questions, okay? So many of these questions are going to be answered now when I cover the last topics of this class, certo? Então vamos lá. So just one last question here for Andra. What do you consider intermediate level? No pass, present, and some variations, but not perfectly. It's really nuanced, right? It really depends on the person. Sometimes you take many courses and you still struggle. So intermediate level, it's really, there are so many intermediate levels. But I would say that if you can, I would consider you an intermediate level if you can use all the main tenses, not only past tense, but the two past tenses, the two future tenses, and also subjunctive mood, then you could consider yourself an intermediate level. If you don't know that yet, you're probably upper beginner level, right? Muito bom, gente. Então vamos lá. Thank you for all your questions. That's amazing. I hope I have time to answer all your questions today. Let's talk about the most difficult phonemes, right? So here, I divided this in two parts. The most difficult phonemes for English speakers and Spanish speakers. But of course, there's a lot of overlap here. So let's start with the nasal sounds. So some of you asked about the tilde. So here, it gets into this category, right? Nasal pronunciation. This is so hard for most students. I have some tips for you. Let's talk about that today. I'm sure that most of you struggle with this, right? So let's talk about and Okay, Virginia, but you pronounced the same way. Yes, I did. So the pronunciation of these two words here, with the tilde and the letter O, and the letters AM is exactly the same. Now tell me that I blew your mind. It's the same pronunciation. How come? So let me give you examples. So the difference between the with the tilde and the with the M is the stressed syllable in the word. So let's get, for instance, two very similar words. Estudaram, estudarão. So here is the verb to study in the past tense, third person past tense, and future tense, third person future tense. So phonetically speaking, these two words are exactly the same except for the stressed syllable. Okay, so stress in Portuguese, as in other languages, is also very important. So changing the stress of the syllable changes the meaning of the word, right? So repeat after me to practice. Estudaram, estudarão. I will help you with this phoneme. Just give me 1 minute. Just repeat after me one more time. Estudaram, estudarão. So you see that this pronunciation here, and is the same. This is important. Why? Because most students, they pronounce the AM as No, don't do that. Promise me that you never pronounce the letter M by itself at the end of a word as an M in Portuguese, because we Brazilians don't do that. I know we are crazy. It does not make any sense, but that's how we pronounce words in Portuguese in Brazil. The letter M, it is not pronounced as an M at all at the end of words, okay? The M only sounds as an M when it is followed by a vowel, like in the word mão, like in the word mate, like chamate. So M-A sounds like ma, but you place the letter M at the end of a word, like here, estudaram, there's no M sound at all. So here, these two diphthongs, they are pronounced the same way. So this is phonetically speaking, right? Because here we have a vowel and we have two vowels, and here we have a vowel and a consonant, but this phonetically is also a diphthong. It is pronounced as two vowels. So, but how to pronounce this in Portuguese? So let's train a little bit the nasal sound. I'm going to go back to my camera so you can see me well, because it is really important that you imitate not only the sound but also the position of my lips and everything. So when you pronounce nasal sounds, you have to pay attention to your nose. So a nasal sound, it means that the air is passing through mouth and nose at the same time, right? So we have in Portuguese what we call oral sounds. So these are the sounds that come through your mouth only, like the basic vowels, a, e, I, o, u. So these are the oral vowels. They come through, the air passes through your mouth only. If you touch your nose and you say you don't feel much vibration here. But we also have the nasal vowels, which are e, o, So all these nasal vowels, the air is passing through mouth and nose at the same time. So one thing that you can do is to put your hand here to feel the vibration. You see that it vibrates much more than saying Another exercise that I wanted to do is before saying the nasal I want you to say, just try to pronounce this only through your nose. It will not come out correctly, but it's just as an exercise, just to practice to pass air through your nose to produce a sound. So I know it sounds weird if you are in a public space, you probably will not want to do this, but if you are by yourself at home, do this exercise with me. So let's do this together, okay? So place your fingers here to feel the vibration. So let's say the phoneme ão, first just with just the nose and then mouth and nose. So Of course, it takes practice. I know it sounds super weird, but I promise this helps, because this is what you have to do. You have to produce a sound through your nose, like So try to do this. Trying to pronounce the with your mouth closed and just going through your nose. So, and try to see this vibration here. And another tip to pronounce the diphthong, that is used in the word mão, pão, bread. We have to pronounce this diphthong. One common mistake that I see people making is just pronouncing one sound like on. Remember, if you see two vowels, you have two sounds. Even if it is really quick, really fast. Pão, mão, it's fast. But you have to pronounce two vowels, okay? So, oh, it's quick, but it is there. You have to open your mouth to say the and then you have to close to say a weak oo at the end. Oh. Are you repeating after me? I'm watching you. Remember, it's important to say out loud. Ão. Ão. I hope this is helpful, guys. I know it takes practice. You'll not learn this like in 5 minutes, but I recommend that you do this exercise. Do this many times. Try to do the exercises just like the nose, then open your mouth and try to produce these nasal sounds. Okay, so let's go back to the lesson. Muito bom. Okay, so let's move on to the next topic. So this was nasal sounds, and this is applied to any nasal sound. So whenever you see a letter in Portuguese with the tilde, you know that that sound is nasal. And many times the nasal sound is made with the letter M or N. Okay, I made a video exclusively about this on my YouTube channel. If you still want to learn more about this, I recommend that you look for that video. Muito bom. So let's talk about the letter L. This is super easy, so I'm going to be fast here. But even though it is easy, students make this mistake all the time. If you want to sound like a Brazilian, you have to remember that you don't pronounce the L at the end of syllables in Portuguese. In Brazil, we just don't. Brazilians are crazy, guys. It does not make any sense. I think that they do pronounce the L in Portugal, but Venus can confirm that because she lives in Portugal. But in Brazil, we just don't. So pretend there is no L when we say words like hotel, 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 hotel. It's really quick, the last U sound, because it's a weak, it works as a weak vowel, right? So hotel. The stress here is in the vowel E, which is an open E, hotel. There is no L. Pretend there is no L. Another word, alto, means tall. Alto. No L sound. Repeat after me. Alto, alto, alto. So one phrase, one sentence to practice in a sentence. Sometimes it's useful to practice in an entire sentence. So repeat after me. Aquele hotel é muito alto. Aquele hotel é muito alto. Aquele hotel é muito alto. Okay, so this is easy, but remember that because I see students pronouncing the L, like hotel, all the time. So be careful with that. And if you do that, Brazilians will notice that you have an accent like in 2 seconds. Number 3, stressed syllable. This is so important to put the stress in the right place. So we come back to this topic here that I mentioned, these 2 words. The meaning changes when we change the stress of the syllable, right? That happens in every language. If you pay attention to your language, you probably have many examples like this. So in Portuguese, it is really, really important to have the stress in the right place. Otherwise, it could be difficult to understand what you're saying. So these examples that I'm giving you here, they are not related to accents. They are pronunciation rules that you have to follow. If you don't follow these pronunciation rules, you will be a difficult time communicating and making and having people understand you, okay? Because if you say estudou instead of estudo, people will think that you're using the past tense and not the present tense. That will be confusing. So using the right intonation, putting the stress in the right syllable is extremely important when learning Portuguese, okay? So let's see some examples here. So one very good tip for you, in Portuguese in general, most words, I would say, I don't know, 90% of the words, they are paroxítonas. What does it mean? It means that the stress of the syllable is in the second to last syllable. So if you remember that, you get most words correctly. You get the pronunciation, the stress of most words right, okay? So, for example, verbs in the present tense, they follow this rule. Eu estudo, like I study. If you say eu estudou, I'll be confused. I'll think, oh, is she saying that she studied yesterday, or is she saying that she's the stress at the end? Okay, so it's really important to have the stress in the middle here. Ele estuda, nós estudamos, eles estudam. So can you hear how the stress is in the middle? Estudo, estuda, estudamos, estudam. Of course, I'm exaggerating a little bit so you can really hear the difference. Usually it's much more subtle, but this is so important. So I recommend that you pay attention to this and practice this, right? I'm skipping some examples so we have time to cover everything. So the second tip regarding the stress of syllables, the correct stress, is that words that end with these letters, they are stressed at the end. I don't want you to memorize this. I'm just giving you this information so you know, and then you can, when you're not sure, you can look this up, but you don't have to memorize this, okay? So for instance, usually words that end with two vowels at the end, usually the stress is at the end. So this is something easy to memorize, right? So for instance, estudei, estudou. So here is past tense. And one interesting thing, when you see two vowels together at the end, usually the first vowel is stressed and the second vowel is weak. Estudei, estudei. So you see that the second vowel is very weak and the first one is strong. Estudei, estudou. Eu estudei, ele estudou. Right? Eu comi, ele comeu. I'm only using the first two examples because the other conjugations, the stress is also in the middle. Eu assisti, você assistiu. So you see how the stress goes to the end? This is why we're following this rule. This is also a rule, a pronunciation rule that we have in Portuguese. So if the word ends with E, U, L, Z, R, all these letters, the stress goes straight to the end unless there is a graphic accent in the word, which is the next topic. So whenever you see a graphic accent in a word in Portuguese, you know that's the stress syllable, right? So, abóbora. If without this accent, the pronunciation would be, the stress would be in the second to last syllable, would be abóbora. So when you see the accent here, we know that the stress is actually here. Abóbora. Repeat after me. Abóbora. Abóbora. Abóbora, which means pumpkin. Análise. 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 Automático. 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 So whenever you see this, especially this acute accent, you know that that letter is stressed, but also could be the circumflex accent. Sometimes the tilde makes the syllable also stressed, okay? Okay, guys, questions? We're almost getting to the end of the class. I hope this is useful. Sim. Muito bom. I see that Venus answering many questions in the chat. Obrigada, Venus. Muito bom. So let's talk a little bit about some other phonemes that are usually particularly difficult for Spanish speakers, right? So the letter Z. I know this is easy for English speakers, right? Z as in zebra. But we don't have this phoneme in Spanish, at least maybe in some countries. There are so many different variations of Spanish too, right? That's crazy. But I have had many students from Mexico and other places that could not make the Z sound. So I have a tip for you. The only difference between the pronunciation of the letter Z and the letter S is the vibration of the vocal cords, right? So here, I want you to practice here with me. I'm also going to come back here so you can see my face. I want you to put your hand here and compare the S and the Z sound with me. So you see that the Z creates a lot of vibration here, and the S is like no vibration. So like in the word casa, za, casa. What if I say casa, casa? Let's say just the consonant. No vibration at all. There's no vibration of the vocal cords. How about the Z sound? Z. Oh, that's a lot of vibration here. So I recommend that you try this exercise. Try to find a way to pronounce the S sound with vibration, and then you have the Z sound, as in casa. Casa in Portuguese. The Z sound is very strong, right? If you say casa, it sounds like Portunhol. Sounds like Spanish, does not sound like Portuguese. Portuguese would be casa. It's a very Z, very strong Z sound. Number 2, the letters G and J. JJ in Portuguese. This is difficult, I believe, a little bit for English speakers and also Spanish speakers. So the G sound in Portuguese, the G and J, is usually the same, and it's always J. The G can also be G, right? G. So with the letters A, O, and U, it sounds like G, like gato. But with the letters E and I, it sounds like J. So it is important to know that it's one smooth sound. It is not J. No, it's J. It's like a continuous, smooth sound. So like gente, gente. So repeat after me. Gente. Oi, gente. 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 Right? It's not gente. Jogo. Jogo. And like my name, how would you say my name in Portuguese? It's not Virginia. It's Virginia. Virginia. Okay? So remember to practice that. It's like zzz. It's a continuous, smooth sound. And now we get to one of the most difficult topics as well. O aberto e o fechado. I also have a very interesting video about this that I recommend that you watch because we don't have much time now to really talk about all the details. So I recommend you look for a video that I make on this topic that is available on my YouTube channel. But let's talk briefly about this. So the open O and the closed O, they are difficult for Spanish speakers because these phonemes, there is no difference, right, in Spanish. But I like to compare to English to help you understand and get the difference. So the open O, the phoneme is closer to the A. So one thing that can help you get this sound right, I'm going also to move on the camera closer to me so you can see my lips. So one thing that can help you is to open your mouth as saying A, and then pronounce the vowel O, and try to see if you get it right. So let's start with the A, and then close your mouth a little bit, trying to bring it to the O position. Like A. That's the sound that you want. A very open sound. Oh. It's similar to the word awe in English, A-W-E. Awe, awe, I mean awe. This is the open awe. And also in the closed O, it's actually closer to the vowel U, right? So they have these names closed and open because of the position of the lips. So the closed O is similar to U. So let's do this exercise on the other way around, starting with the U. So U. If you open your mouth just a little bit, you can get to the O sound. Ooh. So that's the sound that you want. The closed O is similar to the O in English in the word old, for instance. Okay, I hope this helps. So I'm moving a little fast here, I know. So we have time to cover everything, but I think we covered everything. Yay, yes. So very good examples of these words with the open and closed sound are the words avô and avó. Let's try, repeat after me. So closed sound, avô, 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 which means grandfather. Now open sound, repeat after me, avó, 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 which means grandmother. Anyway, most of the time you can tell the meaning by the context. So if you get it wrong when you're pronouncing, don't worry too much about it. But of course, I recommend that you practice until you get this right. Muito bom, gente. I know it's a lot of information. A replay of this class will be available for you for 14 days. So if you feel like you need to hear this again, feel free to go you can use the same link to watch a replay. Okay, I'll also send you a link after this class. So we're getting close to the end. We are going to have the last giveaway in a few minutes, but we still have 5 minutes. I want to see if you have any questions about, I don't want to answer questions about other topics because we don't have time. So if you have questions about things that we covered in this class or questions about my courses that start in February, please add your question in the comments, okay, to the comments section so I can see your question. And if you have asked a question before I did not see it, please copy and paste so I can see your question and answer your question, okay? So stay with me for a few more minutes while I just want to remind you that my new classes are starting in February. It's always so exciting for me to receive new students. Only open enrollment for premium classes 3 times a year. So I have premium classes starting in February, May, and September. So this is the first class of the year. I'm super excited about this. If you're a beginner level student, the Essential course for beginners is the right course for you. If you're not really a beginner, you have studied for at least 3 to 6 months, you know present, past, and future tenses, the pre-intermediate workshop would be a good option for you to review basic content and also start learning intermediate level content. If you have learning all the most important tenses, you are comfortable with the most important tenses and vocabulary, you should then move on to the grammar and conversation workshop, which is a more intermediate and advanced course. It is B1 level. I'm using here the B1 level is the European standard level. And these courses will teach you intermediate and advanced grammar and prepare you to really give you really a solid foundation in Portuguese grammar. And if you have learned all that, you really don't need to learn anything, any grammar anymore. You just want a place to practice Portuguese because you have learned. You just really need a place to practice conversation and become more fluent in Portuguese. Then the Speaking Brazilian Academy is the right place for you. The Academy is a program that I created to help you have a place to practice regularly. It's a membership course and you can stay as a member for as long as you want. All these courses, they have the basic plan and the premium plan option. The basic plan option, it's self-paced and you can study by yourself, but you still have a lot of support from the community. And the premium plan includes live sessions via Zoom. So we have 2 live sessions a week, 1 live session in small groups with your teacher and other students, and 1 Q&A session with me every Saturday. Okay, so I think I talked about the main, the most important information about these courses. You'll find everything about the courses on this page, speakingbrazilian.com/courses. And if you click and learn more, you see prices, schedule, and everything you need to know. And if you still have any questions about the courses, feel free to email Aline, which is the client care coordinator. Her email is school@speakingbrazilian.com. Okay, guys? All right. So I mentioned at the beginning of the course that, oops, what am I doing here? That I am also offering a new bonus. Okay, this is the place. Okay, a new bonus, which is a Telegram private group. I'm super excited about this because this will help you with your pronunciation. So it has everything to do with the class. In this Telegram group, students that are enrolled in the premium plan will also have the chance to improve their pronunciation, to receive feedback on their pronunciation. So I'm super excited about this. I'll create a different group for each course. So if you join one of the classes, you also have access to that. And remember that I offer 30-day money-back guarantees. So if you're not sure, feel free to sign up and try for a couple of weeks. If you change your mind, you can either request to switch to another course, a more advanced or less advanced course or receive a full refund within 30 days. Certo? I think I talked about the main topics. Now I want to see if you have any last minute questions. Muito bom! I think it's time to... okay, so let me see here. It's time to move on to our Q&A. I'm confused, guys. I want to say if you have any last minute questions, feel free to post your question here. And now we are going to move on to the last giveaway. That's what I wanted to say. So it's time to celebrate. And Venus is going to send me a couple of names. Muito bom, gente. So I'm going to say the name of the last winner of the giveaway, but just before, just a few last minute questions here. So Marcus is asking if he can join the academy at any time or only once every 3 months. So you can join the basic plan at any time, which means you can have access to the course, but you not have access to the conversation classes. Okay, to join the premium course that includes live sessions, you have to join when I open enrollment for premium courses, which is now open, and then I'll close in January 21st, on Saturday, and then after that you have to wait 3 months to be able to join the premium course again, okay? Muito bom, very good question. Just seeing here. So I see a lot of questions about pronunciation. I highly recommend that you look for the videos that I publish on YouTube. I don't want to spend much more time here because the time is up, but I publish videos on the open and close sound, and I do the same exercise on the video. And I also published a video on the nasal sounds, and I also teach the same exercises. So I recommend that you take a look at, on those videos, okay? You find those videos on my YouTube channel. That will be very helpful for you. There's a question about dictionaries. I like to use the Aulete. I usually don't use dictionaries that use the IPA, but there is one. Let me see, I don't remember the name here. You can email Aline, and she'll send you the link for a dictionary that uses IPA. I prefer a much more natural approach to pronunciation. I prefer to just say it out loud and imitate. That's how I learn languages. When I was learning English, I never used IPA. I always just imitated. So that's how I prefer to teach and to learn. But of course, the IPA is super useful. For those who don't know, the IPA is the International Phonetic Alphabet. But you see that in Brazilian and Portuguese, there's a lot of variations in the IPA because of the different accents. So you see many variations. Very good questions, guys. Excellent. So let's move on to the last. Okay, I don't see any other question related to the courses here. I'm sorry if I did not have time to answer your questions. So I have a question here for Mike about the word para and pra. So I do have also a video about this on my YouTube channel, so I recommend that you take a look. If you type on YouTube, speaking Brazilian, para, you see the videos that I made about that. Okay, you can look for the. I have more than 200 videos available on YouTube on this, and these topics were covered. So I think this would be helpful for you. Okay, guys. Muito bom. Okay, last giveaway. The winner is Eliza Campeggi. Am I pronouncing this right? Elisa Campeggi. I'm never sure if I'm pronouncing your names right. Parabéns! Congratulations, Eliza. You are the winner. So you just won a pronunciation coaching session, a 30-minute pronunciation coaching session. So a round of applause for Eliza. So Eliza, please email Aline because we don't know your email. So please email Aline at school@speakingbrazilian.com and she will help you schedule your lesson. I think that's it, guys. Please remember that if you want to join any of my premium courses, enrollment will be open only until this Saturday, January 21st. I hope you enjoyed this class. You can also watch a replay of this class in the next 14 days, okay? It was amazing to spend this time with you. Beijo grande e até a próxima. Tchau, tchau! One last dance before we go.